Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's hot and tasty, and I may even dare say spicy, new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I am your host, Mr. Boomstick XL, and I have assembled an incredible panel along with some of the hottest topics in gaming. And listen, obviously, you're going to see that the panel is a little different. Where we have actually several guests. Mr. Badbit had to drop out simply because there was something that happened with his channel with a bad upload, and he had to actually retape it, which is awful as a content creator. You never want to see that have happened to you. So Joe will be back next week, and more than likely, hopefully, we'll be back for Breakfast with Boom tomorrow, which we have an incredible show and panel ready for you. But we're here today to talk about Xbox, so let's get into the other guest. And Pong Soul, he's a stranger. No one's ever heard of this guy before. He's never been on a podcast. Pong, what's up, brother? How you feeling?
Feeling great, Boom. Always love the opportunity to join another show of yours, obviously. So fantastic to be here. And look at this panel, man. Look, I got my brother 3-Bit here with me. I've never done a podcast with him before, right? So this is fantastic. And of course, I am the president of the official VJ fan club. So always amazing to be on a show with my man VJ, and of course,
who's not the president of the fan club for VJ? I mean, really, we are all presidents,
right? I take notes every time the man talks. I'm trying to increase my vocabulary, so it's perfect. And then we got Boxer Bear on here, and now today he's Outrider Boxer Bear. Man, this is
going to be one hell of a show. And actually, Gaz from Game On Daily should be joining us momentarily. Yeah, he's going to be bringing some sauce with him as always. But yeah, he should be joining us. But speaking of Boxer Bear, Outrider Boxer Bear, how you doing, brother? Did you get a chance to play the newly released Outriders? I think
pardon me, I forgot to unmute myself.
Okay, there you go.
I think he had some apple in his mouth. I think that's what was going on.
No. Apple is untouched. Yeah. So for everyone, I didn't have dinner yet. That's why I prepared myself now with an apple and a banana here next to me, but I'll eat that later. Yeah, I played a little bit of Outriders. I actually took the afternoon off from work, came home and found out that the game didn't download via the app as it is supposed to. And yeah, but I got to play it about an hour now, hour and a half maybe, before this show. And since I really loved the demo, I picked up right where I left the demo, continued down that road. It's fantastic. I love it. Really good, and they made a lot of improvements visually, and also in the cutscenes you can really see that they try to listen to the feedback about the shaky cam. It's not completely gone, but it's way better.
It's much noticeably better for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm having a blast. I'm going to probably play all night today because we have a national holiday tomorrow. So nice. No work for me. I get to play long. And yeah, like Pong said, we have a fire show. We have a fire panel. I'm still a little angry about VG8 on. Pardon me, about on 3-Bit, because he really got me. My little boy woke up tonight at 3 or 4 a.m. He had a nightmare, and I was sitting next to his bed, holding his hand, waiting for him to get back to sleep. Yeah, and I was browsing through my Twitter feed on my phone, and then I read that, tired as I was, I didn't think that it's April Fool's Day, and I really fell for it. I thought, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, I read that, and I immediately just did the old eye roll. I'm like, man, he's trying to get people. And he did get a lot of people with that. That was really good. Gaz, you're here, but you got a lot of wind in your mic over there. Is that because you're outside? Yeah. We got to get you.
Oh damn! I thought I'd mute myself. I apologize. There's a little. I will mute that. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. No problem, brother.
Do you want me to do the intro now?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. How you doing, Gaz? Welcome.
I'm good. I'm sorry about the match. It's a mad day because it's Easter weekend. Work has been mental because everyone's trying to complete things just before the weekend. So
Yeah, we got a real bad connection, brother.
I'm
We
always
can.
apologizing every time I come on here, but I'm good, man.
Nah,
Good to
Gaz, we're gonna have to have you
connection.
back
Oh,
out.
okay,
Yeah,
one second.
yeah. We're gonna have
One
to have you
second.
back out, brother,
Apologies.
because it's really really a bad connection. You know, well, let's continue with, of course, the introductions. 3-bit. After fooling everyone, how do you feel, sir? You should be scolded. Welcome to the program, dude.
Hey guys, I had to do it. I'm sorry to everyone who fell for it. But no, I'm not leaving. I love this community. You
Really sorry,
are all
guys. Just
awesome.
carry on. I'm going to sort it out. I'm going to use my phone as.
Okay, yeah, we'll get Gaz back in here, but yeah, thanks so much for being here, brother. And yeah, that was a great. I mean, listen, you really got a lot of people. People were sending like cheer up. It's going to get better messages. It was quite funny, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I felt kind of bad, but I had to do it for April Fools, and it was funny when people started to catch on. In like 3-bit, why? So, but yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Love you guys, and glad to be on the show.
How's Ireland, by the way, 3-bit? Is it beautiful?
It's great, and the weather.
Okay, good.
Ireland, yeah, nice time of year.
A little bit here.
Yeah, nice. I love it. Well, listen, folks, you're here for some real fun gaming talk. What you're not going to get is any of that April Fool's shenanigans here. All the stories here are real. We're going to have some really, really big opinions about many of the things that we're going to be talking about today. Going to thank real quick Casket Repair, good friend of the show. He has become a channel member for Double Barrel Gaming. Thank you so much for that. And of course, Sean Carpenter, generous friend of the show. He drops the first super chat of the day. Outriders will take over. Loving it so far. Thanks, Sean, for the $2 super chat. And of course, thanks for being here. But let's get into the first topic of the day, folks. And when you're talking about the next big acquisition for Team Xbox, many in the community, of course, including myself, have been calling for a Bloober team, makers of Layers of Fear, Blair Witch, and of course 2021's well-received The Medium, to join Xbox Game Studios. Well, in a story that I pulled from WCCF Tech, here is the press release from Bloober team that basically puts the kibosh on them joining Microsoft or anyone at this point. Here's what the head CEO of Bloober team had to say. The company has decided not to continue talks with potential financial and industry investors interested in taking over a majority stake in the company due to the high risk of losing its overarching strategic goals. At the present stage, it would be inconsistent with the organizational culture and would significantly limit the company's value growth potential in subsequent years, especially taking into account the projects implemented and planned by it. Moreover, the company, having free financial resources, has the opportunity to make investments aimed at increasing its fundamental value. Therefore, the company's management board is considering investing in companies complementary to the issuer's activities in order to increase its production and sales capabilities. The management board of the company also decided to recommend to shareholders to transfer the company's listings to the main market of the stock exchange within the time limit enabled the first listing for 2022. Again, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. That's a lot of PR jargon. The layman's terms of this is that they're not selling, and that's because they feel that because the projects they have lined up that go through 2022 all the way through 2025 is going to make a lot of money for the company, and they don't want to be owned by anyone. And yes, I mean, is it I suppose disappointing, at least for me as someone that has been looking at the acquisitions coming into XGS? Sure, but I don't necessarily think this is a terrible miss from Microsoft. I think what Microsoft may already have done, maybe they did show interest. Maybe they did reach out to them and say, yeah, we want to add you to XGS. What do you think? And they said no. But I think that if in fact that's the case, they still have an opportunity to keep doing these exclusivity deals like they did with Blair Witch. Even if it comes out 6 months or 8 months or even a year later, they still gets first dibs on their games. And I think that's important. Archimedes, I want to go to you first on this, brother. What are your thoughts on this? Is this disappointing to you that Bloober team isn't joining XGS, or should they remain just with Microsoft in these exclusivity deals?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. There's a ton of studios out there for possible acquisition from Microsoft. So if Bloober decides that they want to remain independent, kudos to them. It's a tough choice, I think, to make in this day and age where game development is becoming really expensive, really challenging. To decide for yourself that you want to stay independent. I respect that. I hope it brings them the opportunities that they want to have and that they can do the games they want to do. I don't think it's a big miss for Microsoft per se. They can still, if Microsoft sees fit, of course, do an exclusive deal like they did with the Medium or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there are a ton of other studios out there that Microsoft can look into for an acquisition, and so I'm not really disappointed. I wouldn't say. I hope that it's a good move for Bloober, because, like I said, it's becoming more and more challenging to develop games, and I hope that it is the right decision for them.
Okay, I mean, yeah, you know what? I think you're right. And again, this isn't the biggest topic of today's show. I thought it was worthy of a conversation. And again, these are the kind of topics you're only going to find on Double Barrel Gaming, because obviously I do so many shows that, you want to find stuff to talk about, and you certainly don't want to regurgitate everything that everyone else is talking about. And that's something that I'm proud of. Pong, let's go to you next on this. Bloober team, I think, is very talented. And on, if you look at what they've done, and obviously, we can look back to as soon as this year with the Medium, which was very well received. What they have in the future is exciting, and especially if it turns out to be the rumor that they're working on their version of Silent Hill. Again, we don't know that. That's a rumor. But man, it would be pretty cool if it did come true. What are your thoughts on this? Should Microsoft continue working with them as one of those second party or third party devs that just bring exclusives, even if they're timed to the platform?
Oh yeah, of course. I think anytime there's a couple different ways to look at your initial question there. Boom, whether or not it's a disappointment to miss out on a studio like this. Of course, I mean, anytime you're looking at a talented dev like Bloober, and obviously an up and coming dev, one that just gets better and better, yeah, from a standpoint, if you're going to look at it from Microsoft's point of view or Xbox's point of view, of course, you want to add as much talent as possible, and they're in the process of doing that, as we've already seen. So is it a miss? Of course, but it's also really fantastic to see a team like Bloober that is up and coming, that is getting better and growing, being in a position now where they can say, hey, we don't need to be acquired to go ahead and make great content, right? So we always love to see the success stories as well. So, I want to celebrate this, as Bloober has been so successful. The Medium was so good for them that they can say to potential suitors, you know what? Not right now. We're gonna do our own thing. We may even expand out, and we've got the resources, we've got the money, and we're able to do this. So I think from that standpoint, you celebrate it. It's a success story in the industry. Also puts us, it's one of those small things that puts to rest some of the people out there who say that all this consolidation going on is bad for the industry, and we're just going to see monopolies form, with Xbox, buying up everybody. You can see that there's still the industry is huge, and smaller studios can find success. They don't need to be under a big umbrella to stand on their own and to produce great content. So I think from that standpoint, it is a wonderful thing that we're seeing Bloober say, no, we're fine right now. We're going to do our thing. And then going forward, Microsoft already has an established relationship with them, which we already know. So yes, as a second party studio, working out exclusive deals or timed exclusive deals or whatever the case may be down the road, if they are actually doing a Silent Hill, that would be fantastic. And you already know that relationship is strong. And if Phil and his team aren't going to, get angry at Bloober for not wanting to be purchased, they're going to respect that, and they're going to be like, hey, let's work out some deals. That's great. Good for you guys. Let's do this. And it's a comfortable relationship that they can always fall back on and work out these types of deals in the future. So for me, it's fine. It's fantastic.
I mean, I agree. I mean, remember, it's not a nail in the coffin kind of a deal. They just don't want to be acquired now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So that could always change. Gaz, are you back, sir?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we certainly can, Gaz. How you feeling, brother?
I'm so sorry, man. Like, I'm having so many problems, but it's just a busy weekend. I'm good, man, and so I'll just jump straight into the topic to make up for all my problems earlier on. I wasn't surprised by it. I don't think we should read into it too much. It's good that you brought this topic on, by the way, and you're quite right. You don't want to regurgitate the same things over and over again, but I doubt many people will be talking about this on a podcast. But it's an interesting topic if you're concerned about Bloober or you want to know about where they are at this stage. Nothing shocking in their comments, but it's quite telling. It's quite positive as far as Bloober is concerned, because they, and I quote, they say, at the present stage, it would be inconsistent with the organizational culture and would significantly limit the company's value growth potential in subsequent years, which basically means we're kind of set in our ways organizationally. We're quite young and we don't want to limit our growth. So if they did get bought out now, then they think they would be undervalued, because they're anticipating delivering something in the future, which they think will then have a significant impact on how that company is valued later on. So basically means Bloober's intention is to churn out some dank memes, really good games, and I think it's fine. That's absolutely fine. That existing relationship they'll be conscious of. They'll want to balloon the company and bolster it by way of good titles. So, and it got a lot of traction with Medium, and that's the Game Pass played a big part in that. So no, it's great. It's great for the studio.
Yeah,
was it Medium on Game Pass? Yes, it was. Yeah. So
you know what? Let me grab VJ's opinion on it. VJ, the one thing that Gaz just said that's very interesting is the fact that there were a lot of people, not only the podcasting community, not only the gaming community, many people, many journalistic contributors were quote unquote concerned for Bloober's team, and their financials when they released Blair Witch and of course the Medium directly into Game Pass. And apparently it turns out that they must have did pretty damn well if they're not looking to sell. Are you surprised by this move? And should Microsoft continue to push forward the relationship that they have apparently built with them?
I'm just pretty much going to leverage what everybody else has just said, but just to go step by step, because I was scribbling down some notes as everybody was speaking. From the communication statement, if that's what it is, I think Bloober have prepared it, and it may seem to many that Bloober feel that they've slowly but surely earned themselves a decent reputation now in terms of how and what they as a studio are all about. And I'm not so familiar with that, but to add to that, it's more to do with, as I think Gaz was saying, in terms of what they intend to deliver in the future to the gaming community, the gaming industry, and more so to their shareholders. I'm not sure exactly what their shareholder makeup is, but let's just go down this chain of thought for a moment. I also feel like many studios in the Eastern Bloc, especially Poland, they they sort of, from a cultural perspective, value their independence far more, especially if you know, and I've said this before, if you consider that Poland was under communist regime for 45 years up until 1990. I know it seems like 1990 was a distant away, but not if you've spent any time in Poland. It's still a pretty significant occurrence in their history. So that thought brought to my mind then, rather than comparing them to European countries, my mind went off. I think it was something Boxenberger said in terms of some parallels between where Bloober is today and a more experienced and mature company in Bungie, and what they went through to arrive to somewhat where they are today and now. So both have experienced being part of, I think, of a larger group, but finally raised funds and somehow separated themselves apart to be in a position that they felt would allow them to be true to themselves and in turn achieve their goals and visions. So when you're, in terms of what I think they've done in order to, up to the point where they've released this statement, what you're typically doing is you're exploring several types of investment opportunities, but that you're considering, but not just that, but you're considering all of your options. And the most important and difficult lessons you learn when you go down this process is you should be facing or realizing more about yourself, your management, and the perception of your company. And that in turn should help you to choose a direction in which to proceed in, at least for the time being, right? So if anything, I think it's provided Bloober ammunition to go back to shareholders or whoever, you know, funds them, or if they're self-funded to a high level of degree, or if they're looking for external funding to expand, is to say, look at what's occurring in the industry over the last 2 years or so. So let's not dilute our shareholding, since the valuation multiple can be significantly higher if we take our longer term view. I think that's what Gaz was trying to say. So, but Bungie separated from Microsoft since they didn't entirely agree at that time, right, in terms of what Microsoft's production methods, and also wanted to continue to be creative and not keep making Halo games, right? And then they went to Activision and created Destiny, right? Destiny 1 and 2 or whatever. And now they're independent again. So then it's an interesting thing, because, and there's nothing to do with Microsoft, but just as a case in point, rumor is they were in talk to be bought by Microsoft, you know, as part of this whole, you know, establishing of XGS and expanding that with big titles and so on and so forth. But I didn't at the time think it was realistic at all. So then there's several questions and points of view that are raised here. Given the nature of the industry, should either of these two companies belong to a bigger company or remain independent? I think there's a really good question here about Bloober and Bungie and others as well in this predicament in the current market. Have these sorts of companies matured enough to work with a balance between publishing and creative freedom? The thing about a suit like Activision for Bungie, I think it was to take something like Call of Duty as an example, and they would be looking to, you know, milk that cow to death, so to speak. So I'm not sure either company would receive any different treatment with any of the big publishers if they decided to go that route. Then that makes me wonder, who could they work with to give them the exposure they need and the sorts of budgets that they might benefit from? Because I think that, as Boxenberger was saying, you know, publishing a game development, let alone publishing, is a risky endeavor and an arduous one as well. So is Bloober looking at the CDPR, you know, and saying that's our preferred business model? But but to your point, Boom, in terms of what do they have in the pipeline, can their future company prospectus raise the required funds on the main Warsaw Stock Exchange? That's another question that needs to be answered. So in Bloober's mind as well will be, have Microsoft and companies like that truly learned the balance between marketing and production-led development versus allowing sufficient time and placing the creative, I don't know, conduits in behind and layered into each and every project? I think that's key. We've talked about the value of creative producers more and more on this show over the last couple of months, or 3 or 4 months actually. If Bungie and Bloober are making money, then they could remain independent, or perhaps, as you say, Boom, benefit from a partnership. A difference of opinion could be offered, and I might contradict myself here, as I often do, is that they ought to look for someone that can handle the heavy lifting, as I would like to call it, in production, customer support, PR, marketing, and all of that sort of stuff. I mean, Tencent certainly have money, and they've led like companies like Supercell to huge success. It's just one that comes to mind. And so was Xbox a candidate or even a possibility? That would obviously lead to platform exclusives. I don't think that would suit Bungie or Bloober. However, everything can be done for a price. So we all know that, right? So then the next question I would be asking as a shareholder, can Bloober, or in this instance, build a publishing infrastructure? Then you have to ask the question, where's the business value though? Where are they culturally? And I can go on, but what this seems to suggest to me that both, and companies similar to this, really do value their independence, and more so, I would say, their creative freedom above all other things. And that suggests to me that building all of that publishing infrastructure isn't a key goal, even if in the long term it would grant them complete freedom, right, and hands off. As I say, I think you're absolutely right, Boom, about the strategic partnerships. I mean, the medium is in Game Pass. It is a strategic relationship. I don't know if it's totally exclusive or timed exclusive.
It's probably a timed exclusive.
Yeah. So in regards to all of this, it's just to give you a perspective. But they're already in a strategic partnership with Xbox. So, and to finish off, you could or should, in my opinion, partner with whoever gives you the support you need for the games you wish to make. That's the bottom line. That's how I see it.
I mean, and you know what you said makes a lot of sense. You did say that they are already in a strategic partnership. That's apparent. So that's actually good.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, Boom, what does that mean for the company? It's the least overhead solution. Nobody wants overhead. Everybody's trying to cut overhead. So I may have more thoughts on this up for discussion, but this is what I want to wrap up with. That I guess that in 2022 is perhaps a significant or a telling date that Bloober mentioned, right? And
yes.
In terms of what Bloober's and this is a different question. In terms of what are Bloober's forthcoming development plans or announcements potentially for 2022? Is it related to the medium? Would a strategic partnership with Microsoft help leverage a potentially more successful and lucrative flotation? And that's, again, to Gaz's point, right, in terms of having significant amounts of funding, right, to achieve what they're trying to do so. But that's all for now. And
all right. I mean, well, again, good stuff as always. And, you know, 3-bit, let's get your final point on this and move on to some of the bigger topics. You know, you are someone that works within the industry in both big ways and, of course, independent ways. Where do you see this affirmation, if you will, that they just want to stay independent because of the value they believe is coming in the next several years with the games that they have planned between 2022 and 2025?
Yeah, I think Bloober Team is a very talented studio. You do have to wonder what potential companies was contacting them, because back in June they said a dozen or so firms that they've been in contact with. So it wasn't just Microsoft. The reason why you don't want other investors or even the public to know which firms or public companies are interested is because it can raise the potential value and asking price in the negotiation phase for those other companies. And if that deal falls through, another investor that's looking at Bloober has a raised pricing bid, potential raised pricing bid. So this could be set for the future. It seems like they do for sure have like a really good relationship with Microsoft. And I don't know, it seems like the team is like obviously talented and it has potential. So maybe it could just be that Bloober Team releasing a few more games down the line where they get to show even more of their talent as a company, and then interest will jump back up, and then more investors will try this again in the future. But all of this is just business talk based on what they've released and their PR statement. And it could have happened where Bloober backed out, realizing their potential, or it could have been the companies, backing out, or a mixture of both. Considering there was several firms interested. It wasn't just Microsoft. I know a lot of people it comes to mind that Microsoft was the one that backed out, or maybe Bloober backed out from Microsoft, but it was several different firms. It wasn't just Microsoft in the running. So I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, I mean, again, it's certainly not the biggest topic of the day for sure, but one worthy of a conversation, and one, again, that you're only going to find here on Double Barrel Gaming. I do want to move on to, so someone's got some static coming through their Yeah, whoever just muted has bad static. I think that might have been 3-bit. We'll get you back in here in a second. Hopefully, you could fix the slight hiccup. I do want to move on to the next topic, and this one is interesting for sure. Yesterday, in what I believe to be some of the biggest breaking news of 2021 so far, at least in my opinion, was the tweet. Well, I mean, a lot of people tweeted about it, but the story comes to us the way through, of course, Jeff Grubb. He is someone that if you don't know who he is, you definitely need to learn and find out. He is obviously a beat reporter for Games Beat, and he made a pretty impressive and earth-shattering statement on a Twitch stream on Wednesday, and this is all pointing to Remedy, apparently and reportedly, is going to not only develop Alan Wake 2, but they are going to have Epic Games publish this new entry into the long-running Xbox exclusive. Now, I think it's safe to say and even assume that this is going to be a multi-plat, very similar to Control. I say that with confidence because obviously if you bought Control and you bought the DLC, there was an entire DLC dedicated to merging the two worlds of Control and Alan Wake. He's obviously in the game. So if you haven't played that, check that out. If you're a fan of Alan Wake, definitely got me excited. But this is what Jeff Grubb had to say on this Twitch stream. He says, and it's simple. He says, I've heard that Remedy is going to be making Alan Wake 2 with Epic. It should kind of be the follow-up that fans of the series really want. There's a bidding war. There was a bidding war, but Epic had the best publishing deal, and so Alan Wake 2, it seems, is coming sooner than later. I don't know exactly when they'll announce it, but this is what I have heard, and I figured that you guys could hear it here first. Let's go to Gaz on this. Gaz, are you back?
I'm always here, man.
Okay. Well. What are your thoughts on Jeff Grubb breaking this big news?
Jeff, some breaking news, man. I want to get a surprise. CJ Gomez actually makes a good point. He says he kind of wishes Jeff Grubb would stop revealing games. It kind of takes away from the surprise reveal. Although, to be honest, if it wasn't Jeff, it's only going to be someone else. And Jeff Grubb is quite a reliable. Of course, he's been on our show a couple of times. I love the guy. He's actually my favorite journalist, and I'm not just saying that because he came on our show. He's just really cool attitude to everything, and he wouldn't blurt this out if it wasn't true or there was smoke there. So we can't take it on good authority because it's quite a specific set of things. He's not just said that Alan Wake 2 is in the works. He's said that Epic won the publishing bid, which also then alludes to this, like you said, being a multi-platform title. I think Alan Wake 2. It was such a the original Alan Wake was criminally overlooked. I think
I 100% agree. Yeah,
it was really good, not without its problems. But Mighty Ryan says Jeff Grubb is a sexy beast. That's true.
He does have the sexiest hair in gaming. Let's call like a spade here, folks.
Yeah, it's sponsored by L'Oreal, but he's. I think what this will do is give a lot of people gamed on PlayStation an opportunity to sample Alan Wake. Alan Wake 2 could really rectify a lot of things with Alan Wake 1. So much time has passed since Alan Wake 1, though, that I think a lot of people won't remember what the story was about. So I remember this really weird, annoying cliffhanger ending, and I'm just thinking, what actually happened? So kind of like a recap of it or a remaster of it. I don't know.
You know what? I'm right there with you. Obviously, I believe it was last year, the rights were given back to them by Microsoft. And I would love to see them actually do a remaster, with the new consoles in mind leading up to the release of Alan Wake 2. I think that would be financially smart, but also great if you're a PlayStation person that never got a chance to play the original.
Yeah, no, that's a sick point about the PlayStation gamers getting like a remastered version of Alan Wake they never got to play. So the game that they hated on incessantly, they'll start to love it magically. But I'm a troll. The fact is, Alan Wake 2 happening is really good. It's one of those titles where if it wasn't going to happen now, it probably wouldn't have happened. But they've kind of the signs were there with Control, like them doing that. Oh, okay, so they recognize there's what I would say a cult following almost. There wasn't such huge call for it because obviously, whilst it was successful, it wasn't gargantuan or like anything. Otherwise, we would have seen a sequel by now. So, yeah, I'm excited, man. You know what? Compound this with what Remedy said in their interview with IGN about, that dev came on and that the tools argument that the fanboys were saying, oh, it's nonsense, but she kind of completely crushed.
Yeah.
He also alluded to, this guy was speaking very frankly. So when he was like, he goes, oh man, the stuff you see next gen, which is on another level, will blow you away. The way he said that, and I don't think a lot of people taking into account, like someone like that, it's not hyperbole when he is a guy who was super critical and really frank. He said, what Alan Wake, but what I'm trying to say is Alan Wake 2 is just going to look so sick, or for a lack of a better word, dank. It's going to look so sick, man. It's going to be like, and just the way the premise of that game, a third person like game like that, it wasn't, I don't know, could it be open world? Like, could it, because that was the original. If you remember Alan Wake 1, that was an open world game, but they scaled it back down. Could they bring it back to that? I'm just so sad. It's going to be sick.
The question I actually have before I let you go on this topic is, will it bring the Source?
Oh man, look, Remedy. Okay, Remedy have resolved them. So, like, Quantum Break, in my opinion, was a beautiful game that was terribly executed with the TV stuff. The gameplay stuff was just like, I was scratching my head. I was thinking, how did you guys sit in a room or in an office for God knows how many months and think this would be a good, fun mechanic? It just makes no sense, which is such a shame because I really wanted to like it. Control, they really brought it back and took it to another level, which I still need to complete. Seems like I make videos about games more than I play them nowadays. But oh man, Remedy are onto it now. I'm really confident in their abilities to deal with that. They could finally, with the CPUs, like proper CPUs in these machines now, could do so much, man.
Yeah.
So it's really good, man. It's really good news for all gamers round. And I do hope it's multi-platform. I hope PlayStation gamers get to sample it, and because it's just, it's a game. The franchise needs to be experienced by everyone. It's a really good game.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stories left to tell for sure. And again, if you're a PlayStation player that never experienced it, I'm actually jealous because this is right up your alley. It's a third person over the shoulder, story driven, adult themed narrative, and it's horror based, and there's a lot to be told here. I just want to catch some of these outrageous super chats that have come in, and I'm going to bring Pong Soul into the conversation. John Mitchell, good friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $10 super chat. Says, "Hey, Boom, great work by the way." Well, thank you there, John. Definitely appreciate that. I think Microsoft is interested in acquiring devs that they can drop several games onto Game Pass all at once. This is why they need to buy Capcom. That's just my opinion. Paul Grant, another good, generous friend of the show, he drops, wow, and a $20 super chat and says, "I just wanted to say great show yesterday with the Song of Iron developer. Keep the great content coming, Boom. Have a great day, Boom and Panel." Well, thanks so much for checking that out. Yes, folks, and if you missed it, and I don't know how you did, I got a chance to sit down for almost an hour with Joe, who is the developer from the new game coming out, Song of Iron. That is an Xbox and PC exclusive. That's going to be releasing, according to the interview, late summer. But a couple of the really, really unbelievably big revelations that I could easily just spout out here. But I'm going to challenge you to go take 53 minutes of your day and to watch that video. It was, this is the first time I met Joe, and I talked to him like I would talk to my brother. We had such an incredible dynamic between us that we were laughing literally the entire show when I wasn't asking the questions and when he wasn't answering them. And I got to tell you, some unbelievable revelations came out of it. which of course I'm not going to spoil. And if you are interested in Song of Iron and you want to get to know the developer who has an incredible history that you will learn live on the air about, please check that out. It's up on my channel, Double Barrel Gaming, and let me know what you think. But Pong Soul, Alan Wake 2 is a game that I've been calling for many years now. It is a franchise that I think has been underused, overlooked, and certainly understated. What are your thoughts on not only it coming back, but coming back in a big way, being published by all people, the makers of the world's biggest free-to-play game, Fortnite?
Yeah, it's about time, Boom. Alan Wake was one of my favorite games of the 360 generation. And this will hopefully rectify a travesty that we did not get another one last generation. And so for me, I cannot wait for this. And you and Gaz both touched on what, my initial thoughts were, knowing that Microsoft released the IP back to them. That's probably the main reason why this was even going to happen at this point. And I'm excited to see a remaster because it would make sense if you are going to go multi-plat with this, which obviously it seems like it should be. Then to get a remaster of the original with current technology. Oh my God. I mean, that game.
Just the lighting alone is enough to get me excited, dude.
The lighting and the shadow work and the environment that they already had on the 360, bringing that forward to now, I can't imagine what it could be if they do it right. So I would love to see a remaster, allow everybody who did not have an opportunity to experience Alan Wake, get into the story. Yeah. Obviously, we kind of got a hint of this when they did the DLC for Control. As Gaz touched on, there is a really, kind of fanatical fan base that loves Alan Wake so much, and to have more people be able to go in and experience this world, because it is an amazing world. And then, as Gaz had a lot of good points, the original was supposed to be more open world. If they could do that and pull it off, I don't know if they need to. Because the way that they cut down the world and made it a much more controlled experience, I definitely like that as far as the story goes. But either way, to get an Alan Wake 2 at this point is a dream come true. And if we can get a remaster of the original on top of it, man, that's just bonus. That's just cherry on top of the ice cream, right? So for me, this is fantastic news, and I am excited to see what they do with it. Remedy has improved each game, a lot like Bloober team. They learn. Alan Wake was a really high mark for them, and then Quantum was good. It could have been much better, as Gaz touched on. There was a lot of weird mechanics they were trying out there in the TV series and all that extra stuff that didn't need to be there. I'd love to see what they bring everything together for Alan Wake 2 and really expand upon that story and wrap up the original and then grow it even further so that we can see more Alan Wake in the future, because I think Alan Wake has the potential to be one of those big franchises that people love to go back to time and time again, because I started replaying it again with backwards compatibility, and it still grabbed me. And it's been so long that the story was fresh, and I had forgotten some things about it, but it was enthralling, and I can't wait to hop back in, and I'd love to see more out of Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, that makes both of us, and great points. Real quick, before I get to Outright a Boxer Bear, gotta thank a few more people. Pixelbit G, generous friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Remember when Insomniac Games said that they were not selling and that they were and then they sold? Give it time, and cheers to whoever made up the Halo April Fool's joke." Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that tomorrow on Breakfast at Boom. I got some stuff to say, and some maybe as you can see by the thumbnail, maybe there's just some of that Xbox bias still lying around in several of these companies, but we'll dig into that deep tomorrow morning, where we have a loaded panel. I also have a couple of super chats came in. Let me see if I could find them real quick. We have here Crazy Mate Gaming drops a very generous $2. Says, super excited for tomorrow's show. Love you, Boom. We'll love you too, Crazy Mate. Thank you for being here, brother, and thank you for the generosity as always. Here we go. We have another one that just came in here from, let me see if I could find it. Z Black Rider, generous friend of the show. He drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, he says this, Boom, Phil Spencer will buy Epic or Steam. There's no other options. I love it. That's great. And Bay Area drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, good show, guys. I would love to see Xbox add FPS boost to both Alan Wake and Quantum Break. I would run back through both of those games in a heartbeat. Yeah, you know what, dude? I would love to see that as well. But Archimedes, this is an interesting topic for a lot of reasons. Alan Wake, right now as it stands, it's only it's an Xbox exclusive until we're proven wrong. Now I don't think this is going to stay an Xbox exclusive. Personally, I think it's if Epic Games is publishing, that means that it's going to be multi-plat. Now, if Microsoft would have been publishing, well, it's a horse of a different color. For you, do you think that this is a big deal that Alan Wake is making its way back, and when do you think we're going to see it?
Oh, it's long overdue that we get a sequel to Alan Wake. I mean, come on, the game was absolutely amazing. I was a big fan of Max Payne, and when Remedy dived into a different kind of game, I was first a little disappointed, and then I actually played the game, and I was so pleasantly surprised. And I have wondered why they didn't make a sequel after all these years, because I don't know anyone who didn't like Alan Wake who actually played it.
Right.
Everyone who played it was looking forward to a sequel. I'm glad to hear that it's apparently now coming. Like Gas said, Jeff Grubb is usually a trusted source. He brings up a lot of news lately.
You know what? He's become like E.F. Hutton. When he talks, I think everybody listens.
Yeah, absolutely. But rightfully so. He's a good dude, a good journalist, with a lot of integrity. That alone makes him a good one in my book. And he teased it with Epic. I was a little confused that it is actually Epic, because Epic likes to partner with developers who use the Unreal Engine. Remedy is not doing that. That made me wonder a little bit, but in the end, Epic is always looking for good content that is exclusive to their Epic store on PC. So having a Remedy game in there makes absolutely sense. And yeah, that whether it will be exclusive on the consoles or not, actually, I really don't care. Alan Wake is a fantastic game, and everyone should experience it. So I really don't care whether it's going to be an exclusive or not. As for your second part of the question, when do I think could this game come out? To be honest, I have no idea. Remedy has so much in the making right now. We know that the Crossfire X campaign is still coming. And
that's this year, by the way.
Yeah, this year, probably earlier than the fall season is what we are hearing. And yeah, so I don't know. Since it hasn't been announced and COVID is still ongoing, I don't think it is a 2021 title. That is definitely going to be a later game. But I mean, the whole gaming show season is just about to start in May, June, July. I think we will find out a lot more about the plans, the future plans of all the publishers, and that includes Epic. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad Alan Wake is finally coming, or Alan Wake 2, pardon me, is finally coming. I'm excited to see how the story will continue. And yeah, I like the idea that of a remake or remaster.
I hope that they do that. I you know something. I think it would benefit the series. It would benefit Epic Games, who's going to be publishing it more than likely, and more so, it would benefit Remedy simply because, again, a lot of PlayStation gamers, or just gamers in general, did not get a chance to play Alan Wake,
Yeah,
and to see an HD version, which has become something that's almost, like you put on a different pair of socks, right? Oh, it's another HD collection. We have one coming out in Mass Effect very soon that everyone's looking forward to. I think it would do them, or at least a sequel, a tremendous amount of justice to have some sort of a point where people could jump off from.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, how long has it been? 11, 12 years, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's definitely double digits for sure.
Yeah, so probably a lot of the gamers today haven't played it, the first one, especially
or even the arcade version, the release, the American Alan Wake's American Nightmare.
Yeah. Also, great DLC, by the way. I haven't played that back in the days. I played it just a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when it came to the backward compatibility program. The DLC that was actually a very good DLC. Yeah, so that'd be an awesome thing. And one last thing before I hand it off to the next guy, I can't let that stand in the room. What Gas said about Control being better than Quantum Break. I thought it was exactly the other way around.
It's okay. We all tolerate incorrect opinions, so you're entitled to one.
That's the sauce that we know and love. Well, thank you so much for that. But VJ. You want to add something else? Yeah,
no. Please go ahead.
VJ, let's get your opinion on this. This is a pretty exciting deal for fans like myself of the series who have been clamoring for a revival of sorts, and it appears that we're going to get it. And what's exciting is that Remedy, not the biggest company in the pool of developers, knowing that they're going to be backed by Epic, tells me that this is going to be a game, if it's not already close to being done, because we don't know how long this has been in development. They have the financial backing that they might have missed out on if they tried to do this independently. And I got news for you. And you know what? I'm going to have your opinion on this, but I'm interested to know if the debacle with 505 Games and Control is anything to do with them not re-signing with them, because I think it just might be. If you don't know what we're talking about, Control was a game that released on the last gen consoles, and unfortunately 505 Games, I believe this came from, was making players have to rebuy the game for the next gen content, which is ridiculous. And obviously they got not so much 505 as bad as Remedy Games got really clobbered over the head. What are your thoughts on this, VJ?
As far as I can remember, Boom, and this goes back into the first topic, right? About being provided funds to make the games, provide the funds and the support to make the games you wish to make. And I think I recall that the deal with Epic, if that is still the case, and this specific title is being made in conjunction with them, that if there is a shortfall in development costs, if there is a requirement for additional funds to make the game they want to make, that Epic in the agreement will step up and provide those funds. Obviously, I don't know what the exact business terms are in terms of what happens in terms of royalty rates, etc. But I think that how can I put that safety blanket in place is something that Epic can afford to do over a relatively small but intriguing publisher in 505 Games. So I think from a business perspective, they're doing what they want to do, but they've got that safety blanket. Now look, in regards to Alan Wake 2, now please don't fall out of your chair here, Boom, or anyone else on the panel. I've not played it, so nor am I.
Everybody, just real quick, please put BOO for VJ in the chat. I'm sorry.
You suck. No, I'm just kidding.
I might have to resign from being president of your fan club, VJ.
People are falling out of windows right now. Thanks, VJ. I really appreciate that.
No, I mean, since I've been looking through Game Pass, I have been speaking to people about Alan Wake and Quantum Break and Alan Wake and Quantum Break and so on and so forth. But look, I haven't played Alan Wake, nor am I familiar with its audience, commercial success, or critical reception. So I think that in that instance, that perhaps the other members of this majestic panel, I'm trying to save myself here, have already offered the best perspective and foresight, or is it forethought? I don't know. I get those two mixed up. But yeah, I think you've got an important point there. Is that what does Epic offer Remedy? It offers, I think, more publishing and marketing power, shall we say, than 505 games. And
100%. Yeah, 505 games is good, but they're no Epic games.
Yeah, and I think that when Epic Games made the deal, right, I can't remember exactly, maybe somebody else on the panel knows, it was a time when, I know when the deal was announced, but subsequent to that, there would have been a time frame as to when the deal or heads of terms of agreement were being prepared. And in that instance, I think that Epic at that time were looking for exclusive content in terms of for Epic Store, right, which is obviously going up against Steam. So I think whatever they're doing is born out of that, from a previous time frame. So, and what I will say is that as to what Pong Sol was saying, is that I hope that there is a remaster of sorts that is coupled with perhaps Alan Wake 2 or whatever the project's going to be. And then I will have no excuse but to play it. So
absolutely. Real quick before I let you go, VJ, you have a supporter here in Z Black Rider, and he says this, but VJ speaks proper English, so he gets the pass.
Thank you.
I love it. That's great. That's great. Well, listen, thanks so much for the always a very, very fun banter with VJ. And of course, the way he elaborates on topics is why he's a part of this show. But I definitely want to get on to 3-bit. 3-bit, Alan Wake is a horror series that, unlike Resident Evil and like Silent Hill and hopefully The Medium, because hopefully The Medium becomes a franchise, not a lot of people got a chance to play. But if they're going to release it too, and now that we know that it's going to be backed by Epic Games, I would dare even suggest that it's almost a lock that we're going to get some sort of an HD remaster of sorts, simply because how could you go from not playing Alan Wake to Alan Wake 2? You're going to have missed out on a lot. So what are your thoughts on Alan Wake 2 basically being announced without being announced by Epic?
That would be awesome. I think Remedy is such a talented team, and as a studio,
I love Remedy, dude. I said Microsoft should have bought them years ago. Honestly,
they really should have. The style that they developed over the years of creating their games, something they're amazing at, of course, is pushing physics in their games, being able to move almost any small object in their environments, which to me adds to the overall immersion. And as Archimedes was saying, it's not Unreal, so that's actually really interesting. It's the Northlight storytelling engine they have over there. So yeah, I mean, Alan Wake is great. It sort of dives into horror more so than any other one of their IPs, and the storytelling is just great. And my biggest pet peeve with Remedy is always their publishers. They
picked some really bad ones, dude. Yeah.
And they've had a string of just bad luck with them over the years. 505 Games for sure is a terrible publisher in my opinion, adding the whole other edition in order for people to experience Control the next gen. But Microsoft actually was no better, because back in 2018, Microsoft said they didn't want to make a Quantum Break or Alan Wake sequel, which means at some point it was up to Microsoft to release an Alan Wake game a while ago, due to some contracts they've instilled upon Remedy. So unfortunately, Remedy has had their fair share of bad luck with publishing deals. So if Jeff Grubb is saying that this deal with Epic is happening, I have a couple scenarios that could potentially happen. It means either those contracts have expired outright with Microsoft and it'll be multi-plat, or it means on PC the game is exclusive in the Epic Store and on consoles exclusive on Xbox. I could see it going a lot of different ways.
Well, I'll say this. From what I was able to pull on this, Alan Wake is officially owned and has been the entire IP has been given back to
okay.
Remedy, so they're in full control. The only IP that they do not control that is Microsoft's is Quantum Break. So yes, you are correct. Microsoft did not want to do a Quantum Break 2. I don't know if Phil was a part of that because he certainly wasn't in charge at the time, but I don't know if he was a part of that decision. I would dare say that that was a bad one if it was, because I think Quantum Break had the potential to have a great franchise. But I definitely know for a fact that they own Alan Wake.
Okay, because that does make sense, because they did have the Control DLC and they had Alan Wake in there,
Yes,
and all that different stuff. But yeah, Alan Wake is a terrific game, you guys. So people should definitely go back, experience the story. As Pong was saying, it still feels fresh going back with the backwards compatibility. It does seem Remedy does still have a great relationship with Microsoft, as they're working with them on Crossfire X for Series X. And so we'll definitely see, but I'm excited either way. It's such a great franchise.
Well, listen, I agree. I can't argue that, and I think that we are going to be on to something special with an Alan Wake 2. As a fan of the brand, a fan of Remedy as a whole, I honestly cannot wait to see what they bring to the table. Before I get on to topic number 3, let's thank a couple people in the super chats. Dan the Man Cunningham drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hey, Boom and crew, dope show on your Song of Iron coverage. Boom, can't wait to see more." Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. That series, I have it scheduled where I'm going to try and do it at least once a month. And so far, so good. Trying to get a lot of these developers on. I'm a small channel. What I'm hoping happens is the banter and the professionalism and the way the questions were presented to Joe. Not only will his peers look at it and say, yeah, I got to get on that guy's show because I have a small game and he handles us with respect, and hopefully some of the bigger ones. I have reached out, and I'm not going to say who they are because I don't want to jinx it. I have 3 big ones I'm working on, and I'm telling you this right now. If I can get all 3, it's going to change how people look at Double Barrel Gaming. Again, I'm working on it. I'm talking to PR people within gaming. Again, I think once I hit 10,000 subs,
I will take my clothes off.
Well, if you do, then that would be great because I definitely want to see that. But no, I mean, all jokes aside, I'm in the march to 10K. I think that once you hit 10K on YouTube, you become a little bit more, I guess, important. I suppose, which I don't agree with. So I think that if you have 1 sub, someone gives a shit, right? So they enough to sub your channel. But we'll see. If once I start getting these notifications and these commitments from some of these devs that I'm working with behind the scenes, I will be making the announcements for sure. But thanks so much for checking it out. Z Black Rider drops another $5 super chat and says, Microsoft has 60 billion sitting in the EU. Just buy Poland and call it quits. I love it. That's great. They probably could buy Poland, but you don't want to buy countries. You just want to buy video games for sure. The Arnie F drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, what if Alan Wake was $80 on PlayStation and day 1 on Game Pass? Then I would say that you're going to get a lot of more Game Pass subscribers because, yeah, dude, like, look, here's a perfect example of this. And this is not picking on Sony. Returnal is being made by a developer that I am tremendously fond of. And they just released another trailer. This is Housemarque, of course, I'm talking about. And the game looks really good. The problem, folks, is it 7501 good? Because that's what it costs. It's over $75 after tax here in the States. I know it's even more expensive in the EU when you're talking about, their dollars versus the pounds.
And converted, it's 93 US dollars.
93 US dollars for a Sony first. It's not they're not first party. They're considered indie. Nothing's wrong with that. But are you going to drop nearly $100 on an unknown title? See, that's where we run into some really deep waters. And I don't know if I want to do that. Now, do I want the game? Hell yeah, I want the game. Am I paying $75? No, I'll wait a couple of weeks and catch it on sale when it drops 20 or 30 bucks after its initial month on the market. And I know that sounds shitty, but I'm not buying $75 titles. And I think that if you want this industry to change, you need to do the same thing as well and just wait for a sale, unless it's a game that you cannot wait on. But I do want to move on to this particular topic is going to be spicy. So the sauce is going to be pouring all over the place here. The Xbox.
I'm sorry, I had to do a sauce on a podcast.
When I say the sauce is going to be pouring all over the place, because this is a very spicy topic here, folks. The Xbox games with gold was just announced, and of course, like expected, the internet basically imploded. And they imploded because, of course, right after the announcement of those 4 games, PlayStation Plus games were announced. And when you look at what you're getting from one to the other, it is significantly different. Now, we can go on a tangent, and I can go to each one of the panel members and say, why do you hate games with gold, and why should we tell them to F off? But that's not what we're going to do. What we're going to talk about, and the reason why I even wrote this topic, is because of former panel member Luke Lore, who brought up an incredible opinion, not only publicly on Twitter, but he dropped it into the DM that we have, because we all talk on a daily basis. And the question that I want to pose is, how can Team Xbox fix the monthly games with gold offerings? And Luke's opinion on this was spot on. Stop offering those games and make it an indie ID at Xbox publication where you drop 2 or 3 indie titles in there monthly that have never been released, that are first being released first on the Xbox, so you can help not only the indie development community, but give games that people are going to give a flying F about. Gaz, I want to go to you first on this. Do you like that idea?
I was as you were reading that out. I don't know. Look, more exposure to indies is great. That might, however, lend itself to a backlash, because a big reason why a lot of people don't like gold is because the titles they see on gold, they traditionally, expect, because the standard has been set by PlayStation Plus on this, so they expect some big heavyweights. So what you're suggesting on indies is like, okay, fine, we'll do a whole policy change, but fans aren't going to like that, because there unfortunately still a sentiment that indie games are.
But the thing is this, Gaz, people don't like it with what they're doing now, and to be fair, I know that it's hard to go up against your own work in Game Pass. I get it. But to me, it seems like the one is the golden child and the other's the redheaded stepchild. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like. And it seems like all of the effort, and rightfully so, because we're paying for it, is going into Xbox Game Pass, and that's where they want people to put their money and invest their the commitment to the platform is. And it almost seems, and again, I'm not dumping on Microsoft, folks, but we got to call a spade here, Gaz. It almost
ginger
seems,
people are ginger people. What's wrong with being ginger?
Yeah. There you go. It seems like it's the lesser of two that they give any care about.
It's a weird one. Like like me and Colt were talking about this. We're like, why don't you just drop it, man? Because ultimately everyone knows gold needs to just go away from the scene anyway. Someone just donated $100. Sorry, I just saw the red book.
Yeah, I let me just stop the presses here. Jericho Jackson, dude. I want to thank you, because wow, look, here's the thing. As
we're going to be eating well tonight. Thank you, Jericho.
I never expect. That's the thing. I never expect super chats. I want people to understand that when I do these things, it's for the love of the industry, but more importantly, it's love of this community. Like I said, I really have such an affection and appreciation for what everyone does. I'm happy with just a like. To drop $100, especially during these times, is just, Jericho, all I can say is thank you. That is very kind of you.
And
But
Jericho, there's a great podcast called Game on Daily. You can throw all your money at us. We will never complain. No, but that's amazing, man. And well done. Sorry, that's your show, and I'm just
no.
Boom does,
Listen,
Boom
dude,
does a lot of work. You
it's
do a lot
very
of work. You
rare.
deserve every cent, honestly, Boom.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
and
it.
I know that's going to go straight into building double barrel gaming to and even saucier levels. Any developers out there, get on the show. But yeah, sorry, I was just saying, look, man, gold needs to go, man. Gold is just Microsoft is just waiting till they can get enough solid Game Pass numbers that then they can finally do away with what is essentially a redundant service. So what you're seeing is basically like the afterbirth. Oh, that sounds really weird, but with these games of gold, they're just really redundant games. It's kind of reflective of how Microsoft see it. To be fair, we make noise about it because you draw comparisons with what PlayStation doing with PlayStation Plus, which is infinitely better in recent months than what Microsoft is churning out in the games of gold. And ultimately, like for people who are Game Pass, we don't actually care that much because we're getting so much value for money. Yeah. But that doesn't excuse what gold is. And essentially, this is going to, I suspect, it's a bit of a catch-22. Microsoft, if I were Microsoft, I'll be honest with you, and I'm thinking, yo, man, shut up, man. We're giving you so much with Game Pass. Just subscribe there. You know, if you have a brain, that this is where the source is. Come, just get the source. But at the same time, you're like, oh, man, there's so much negative press being built around this thing that we kind of, essentially copied Sony on. So just like, it's a catch-22. I think it will be a problem that lingers on, or they could maybe style it out. Your proposal, whoever that gentleman's proposal was, to have indies at the forefront is great in my opinion, if those indies get the traction through games of gold. But what you might find is everyone will just say, oh, what the hell is this game, this pixel bit game or like pixel game? Like, I don't like pixel games. And they'll see that as a continuation of gold being like a substandard service comparatively to PlayStation. So the problem in terms of PR doesn't go away. So it's like that problem will linger on even if you have really noble goals. I think noble, but of putting indies there, giving them a chance to do it. It's ultimately a publicity problem. Really, I just think Xbox Gold needs to go away. I haven't even actually cared about. I've had Gold subscription running for ages. I've got Game Pass Ultimate now for God knows how long, but I don't care. I actually don't care. But I was gonna do a source video on it, and kind of like go all out and say this is stupid, man. I know what I'm like, but ultimately I don't actually care. So it would be disingenuous for me to make a source video unless I tackle that with a mix of topics. But just I'm saying, I don't personally, it's rubbish. PlayStation are doing it way better.
Yeah,
they're doing a lot, and respect to PlayStation for getting that right. And yeah, gold will eventually go away. It's just a case of this is just a lingering, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to sit back and watch it wither and basically die. I mean, look, just before I get to Pong Soul on this, here's the offering. Let's talk one versus the other for the sake of the conversation. Vikings, Wolves of Midgard, which I'm going to tell you this right now. Please play this game if you like Diablo, because it looks freaking dope. I'm sorry. Then you have Truck Racing Championship. Okay. Does anyone want to race 5-ton, 100 horsepower semi trucks? Not really, but I would try it. And then, of course, you have Dark Void, which is a Capcom game that no one played. I actually quite enjoyed it, to be honest with you. I did beat it. I wouldn't play it again. And Hardcore's Uprising, which of course is Contra, is looks like it plays really well. So it's not terrible, to be honest with you. But when you mirror what PlayStation is doing, I think this is where you run into the mud. And of course, PlayStation is giving away Days Gone. Now, listen, folks, say what you want about the open world zombie game. It wasn't the greatest when it released, but it's fantastic now. They fixed a lot of the problems. Some of my issues with it was just too long. It was it was too long for its own good. but it still had a great story. It still had the over-the-shoulder type of technique I really love from Sony games, and maybe that's just a me thing, and that's fine. And of course, they're giving you the new Oddworld game that's exclusive for the PlayStation 5. Folks, these, when you compare apples to oranges, Pong, I can see where people get frustrated. And this isn't like, okay, last month was good and this month is not so good, so maybe next month will be better. Microsoft has had a string of pretty poor months. How do we fix this, Pong?
That's a good question, Boom. Microsoft is kind of in a catch-22 because of what PlayStation is doing, and because we obviously know that their focus is Game Pass, and so that's where the money's going, right? And that's where they're making the deals and putting the stuff out there. But yet at the same time, they still have the archaic games with gold going, and so they've kind of find themselves in a tough spot. And I agree. For me personally, I don't care. I will never complain about free games. And obviously I might be skewed.
I'm right there with you, dude. Like, I get it. I get what people like, well, just a second, Boom. These are terrible, but you don't have to download them.
Right. But if they're going to continue, this is something that they started a long time ago, and it was obviously part of the promotion of gold that you would get these games. So, again, continuing with that, if they're going to continue to do it, and people are automatically, going to compare it to what PlayStation is doing. And of course, PlayStation now is nowhere near what Game Pass is. So, that comparison goes back that way as well. And we know that. But for the people who are not subscribed to Game Pass, who still, look at their monthly bill that they pay for gold, and count that as part of, hey, I'm supposed to be getting some quality stuff with this. I understand that feeling as well. So what I would do, and I like Luke's idea of the indie games, but what I would do is, why offer 4 mediocre games? Why not offer 1 big game and then throw maybe 2 indie games in? Right? Maybe scale it back. They always show the value of the games that they're providing you. Why not take that value, whatever that number is that they decided that they want to offer free each month to games with gold? Why not take that value and say, okay, we're going to give you 1, top tier game, worth $60, and then we're going to give you 2 indie games at such and such a value, right? And so instead of just doing mediocre, go that route. And I think that would quiet some people. You're never going to make everybody happy, and people are still going to do the comparisons or whatever else may be. But why not just throw the value, whatever you're trying to offer, and get the best game that you can. Give that to the games with gold, and then throw in a couple smaller titles, smaller indie titles with it, and call it a day, and say, okay, you know what? We're not going to do the mediocre stuff anymore. We're not going to give you 4 games a month, or 5 games, or whatever the case may be each month, but we're going to give you 1 high value target each month.
I agree with that. Yep. You know something? It's funny because it's what PlayStation did. If you remember, they were sometimes offering 4 and sometimes 5 games. Some of them were Vita games, some of them were PSVR games, and they said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're taking away PSVR, PS3, and PSVR. We're taking all those games out, but we're going to give you 2 big games.
Right.
And everyone has been very happy with some of their choices. And, again, some of these games have been straight up PlayStation exclusives that I think are there because of the outrage of $70 games. Because no one's going to pay $70 for the Twisted Metal meets Fortnite game, right? And that's not even available. You have to buy that for $10 now. They took it out, and now they're giving you. I hope that's not the case with Oddworld, because that would definitely stink for sure. But I agree with you. I think that is a great way to do it, where you just dump the mediocre stuff into the big batch of games you drop into Game Pass monthly, and you just add that 1 big bomb and maybe a second indie title and call it square.
Right. Exactly. Yep, no, I agree totally, and I'm excited for the Vikings game as well. I've almost pulled the trigger on that multiple times, so I'm happy to get that one. Yeah, and then Dark Void, for anybody who didn't play it, was an underrated game from the 360 generation. It was one of those games from Capcom that kind of got lost in the mix because there was so much coming out at the time. But Dark Void is a solid game, and then like you said, Hard Corps is a fantastic game, Contra style. I like that game. So again, I'm not going to complain, but I understand people's points of view, and the comparisons, yeah, they're going to happen no matter what. But I do believe that to offer one big banger each month, and then maybe one or two smaller games is the way to go for them, and it might quiet down some of the complaints.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I definitely think you're onto something. Real quick before I bring in, he popped out. So VJ. Yes, I'm going to you before Boxer Bear because Boxer Bear's not here, so it's nothing personal. But obviously we try to go in order. VJ, you are someone that I think has a great eye on the industry. I love what you bring to us each and every week. Here's my question to you. Mm-hmm. How do they fix the image problem that Microsoft currently has with games with gold?
Boom. I think I just want to caveat everything I'm going to say with, I think we all have to understand that overhauling a whole division and an ecosystem over a number of preceding years leading up to the Xbox Series X launch, and then the succeeding years are going to be coming with some problems in the short term. So in terms of what the issue is with Gold and Live, and we know what they are, and I'll go into some of them because I'll have some questions. Let's just hope that's all it is, right? So no doubt Xbox have something bubbling away, right? But I don't presume to know, all of Xbox's long-term plans, or more so the end game or results that they're hoping for in terms of a business plan, right? So mine is a sort of uninformed thought process, and I may have some facts back to front, so feel free to correct me. But if I'm Phil and I'm intending to be sort of listening to all of his PR over the year or so, or 18 months, if Phil is intending to be the sort of benevolent protector of the gaming industry and its communities, then perhaps Phil has a plan to resolve, repair, enhance, replace, or do away with this sort of, I don't know, it's sort of like a plain as day weak link in the chain or splintery impediment, right, in the Xbox ecosystem, right, that kind of rears its head on more than one occasion, right? And I guess that's why it's a topic for today. Look, as a novice onlooker, I don't think people, maybe not Phil, but maybe for Xbox, they don't want to fix games with gold right now. Let's couple that with a couple of questions. Is there a significant movement in desire in the community specifying and petitioning the fact that gamers with gold is antiquated, miserable, or even dismal, or even a dismal sort of afterthought, right? Is enough pressure being applied on Xbox to change, improve, or replace what's obviously, I don't know, a stale, outmoded, and now, all but outmaneuvered offer, right? Or service by Sony, as Gaz was alluding to, right? Or more importantly, does Phil really want Xbox Live to be any sort of realistic value proposition? That's where my mind is going. Is it, as it may hinder or the growth and objectives of Game Pass in unforeseen ways, which they may be, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. It requires far more thought on my part, on everyone's part, I guess. But given
those are good questions. VJ.
But given the sorry guys, but sorry, I don't want to lose my train of thought. I'm old now. Sorry, I'm really old.
Apologies. You sound like me, so it sounds like you're talking. I'm talking.
But you also have to look at, given the recent sort of adversity faced, right, followed by that brisk about turn, if you like, over the live service price hike, right? It was a schoolboy error for me, Boom, that quickly reminded me of the Microsoft of yesteryear, specifically 80s, 90s, and more recently 2013, right? And for me, at the end of the day, the marketing and PR guys of benevolence, from all companies, right, not just Microsoft, and the promise of munificence can only be judged on its long-term merit and performance, and therefore gold as a service is simply showing a lack of truthfulness, I guess, and in regards to us, being its biggest supporters, and I think it's treating us with a little bit of contempt. I would say. I'm not sorry, because often I say I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I think it's the harsh truth of the matter. Every error, sometimes Microsoft or even Sony or even Nintendo, right? Well, Nintendo not so much. They don't really say much. Is then papered with that, very sort of common PR inserted placatory rhetoric, right? And if you can't see that, I don't know what to say other than have a word with yourself. But but either, I think, Boom, improve Gold so it's on par with PlayStation Plus, or at least respect us, the hands-off investor, the ones that are closest. And Boom, there's no one in the community that supports Xbox on a regular basis. I don't mean from a fanboy perspective, but in terms of the thoughtful content that you produce, right? Or at least respect the hardcore that supported Xbox through thick and thin, or replace it with something else, which may well affect the plan to herd and migrate the majority of live users over to Game Pass. Now, I say live users, it's not a disclosed fact, as far as I can tell. Maybe someone can enlighten me in terms of how many of the 90 million monthly active users of the service are free members or paid Gold members, and that would help sharpen my thoughts and perspective. I think we have to, as hands-off investors, because that's what we are right now in terms of Game Pass and the 20 million subscribers that they have, in terms of putting in the funding and allowing Xbox to manage those funds as best as they can, to stop acquiescing and accepting mediocrity. And I think that is why this topic's this topic is on the agenda today, which in turn becomes the new normal if we keep just accepting things. And it's taken Sony, for a change, to wake up and highlight the situation, only for us to then to look at Phil and say, this is not becoming of your Xbox ideals that you've been marketing and PRing towards us, nor is it respectful or acceptable to the audience that you're providing it to. So I guess the question is what are the solutions or plans going forward? And please answer us without sort of altering our focus or manipulate or distract us from the issues at hand. I think it was Shakespeare, right, that said something, I remember this from school now, said there is no growth without change, and better 3 hours too soon than a minute too late, or something along those lines. So perhaps someone close to Phil, when they're passing him his coffee, would hand him a note and should remind him of such, and perhaps he will heed and then act in accordance with Shakespeare's advice, not mine, of course. And I think the most important thing here, Boom, and I don't want to talk about Sony, is Microsoft and Xbox have been very clever and very smart to outmaneuver Sony in every shape, way, or form up until this point. So why not stem the flowering of a competitor's unique selling point that has noticeably, I would say, blossomed over recent months? So yeah, I think it was a really important topic, Boom, and I've probably got more points to make, but I think I just need a sip of water now. Thanks.
Hey, well, thanks so much for the elaborate point, as always, and definitely appreciate that. And again, that's why we have you on the show, because you do take it in directions that most of us sometimes don't even think about. Let's get 3-bit. How do Microsoft address the constant complaint of the offerings from Games with Gold? Because this is a topic that is not going to go away. Now, real quick, I want to catch up with some of the super chats because one of them is relevant to this. East Texas Alex says, after dropping a $5 super chat, says, I never understood why people say drop Games with Gold. It's not for the hardcore audience like us, but for the casual gamers, in my opinion. Reggie Mobile 9 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, great show, Boom and crew. Many of Xbox's decisions remind us that not all Xbox executives are of Phil's quality, indeed. And Texas Alex drops an additional $5 super chat to add to his point. He says, but I do agree, PlayStation is giving away better games, way better than Xbox. And Philly Eagle, and that's why I want to get to him in a second. Texas Alex drops an additional very generous $2 super chat. Says Pong Soul should be in charge of Games with Gold. Here. I'm signing the checks as we speak. And the reason why I wanted to stop that, because I wanted to just address what Philly Eagle said. And he makes a great point here. He drops a $10 super chat. Thank you for your generosity, Philly Eagle. And of course, thanks for being here as always. He says, this perspective is wrong. No one is paying for Games with Gold. No one. Those are free. Though the only issue is people constantly complaining just to be heard. GPU equals gold. And it's talking about Game Pass Ultimate equals gold, $10, or Game Pass for $5. Get Game Pass, no fix needed. I think you're onto something with that. I think a lot of people don't pay for it as because they converted everyone over. But how many people out of and I think this is a great point that VJ brought up. How many of the 90 million active users are paying for gold and or just paying for gold? See, those numbers we are not privy to, so I don't know the answer, but that's a great point. 3-Bit, in your opinion, how does Microsoft address this very nagging issue?
Yeah, this is a hard one. Everyone had really good points about this, because I think no one, I believe no one's paying for games with gold just for the free games. People are mostly paying it for the access. The benefit of Microsoft's approach is having the ability of being cross-platform. They're a software company, of course, and I think having games with gold is starting to be a bit outdated because of something like Game Pass. I actually think having xCloud being only in the higher tier of Xbox Ultimate is a mistake for like younger kids wanting to play. And since Microsoft is pushing accessibility and the blend between console and PC, there's no paywall for playing games right now for PC games through Xbox services. And Microsoft is definitely heading in the right direction with them getting rid of that gold requirement for those free-to-play games. But I personally think it's redundant at this point. Many consumers are already confused by this current model, which leads to believe on why they are rebranding from Xbox Live to Xbox Network. Xbox Live was definitely created at a time when it was amazing and a new thing for consoles to go online, hence the name Xbox Live. And right now it's expected out of almost all new electronic devices. But so as VJ brought up though, how would getting rid of Xbox Live affect Game Pass? Would consumers still see it as a great value every month comparatively to the price tag, which $50-$60 per year of Xbox Live, if Game Pass was all that's left? It brings up a lot of sort of PR rhetoric that comes with these decisions, and it's a lot easier to just say get rid of gold. These games are crappy or whatever the case is, but there are a lot of decisions that come with a service that people have been paying for like 14 years or so. So I'm thinking they could just keep improving the service where they can for now. Getting rid of the free to play paywall was definitely a good first step. It's definitely a hard one. I think if Xbox did cancel games with gold, they would have to do something with Game Pass. But right now, Game Pass is something that Sony is looking at. You can tell they're already starting to be very competitive with the games they are releasing for PlayStation Plus. So I don't know. I think I go back and forth with whether it's needed or not based on the potential outcome of how it affects Game Pass and what that means for Game Pass. Because when you get rid of games with gold, you also have to consider, what does that mean for Game Pass? Does that mean that everyone sort of falls in line of Game Pass? What does that mean for it? But I think if Microsoft since they are pushing accessibility, then they should probably get rid of games with gold. But that's me as a gamer. That's me as, that would be just great for many people who are joining the Xbox ecosystem, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are just joining Xbox, they're not sure they're kind of confused by this model of games with gold and probably Xbox Live and also Game Pass anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth with it.
I mean, you make a lot of good points, and something. I don't think there's an easy fix here. Boxer Bear, we got your back, brother. Thanks for joining us again. My question to you, quite simply, is we had a super chat come in from Thanos for $5. Thanks so much for not only the generosity, Thanos, but for being here as always. He says games with gold is still needed. If games with gold was removed, why pay $15 for Game Pass Ultimate? And I think that, he does make a point, but at the same time, I think that more forethought at whoever is in charge of what is going on at this particular portion of Xbox. I think that personally needs to be addressed, because there is a stank difference in between what we are getting monthly on one platform and what we're getting on the other. And obviously, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. But Boxer Bear, how does Microsoft fix this very glaring issue?
Well, first, I have no idea what everyone else said because my computer shut down with the blue screen. So sorry for dropping out. So I hope I don't repeat too much what others already said. Yeah, the way I see it is this. Xbox has been trying to build up that ecosystem, that unified ecosystem, where Xbox isn't just a console anymore. It's PC, it's xCloud, it's so much more than just that one plastic box under your TV that needs a special payment to go online. The thing is, if you want to be in the ecosystem, in the Xbox ecosystem, you can have online gaming for free on PC, and you don't have to pay extra if you want to play competitive via xCloud. And now that's why the gold subscription service itself doesn't seem that justified anymore on the console. And a lot of people have been saying, yeah, get rid of gold. I get the business side. There are probably still millions and millions of gold only subscribers, and you would throw away a lot of money by just getting rid of gold. But the other thing that Microsoft has been doing a lot is trying to win customers over by adding value. Yeah, when you buy an Xbox console, you get a lot of value in terms of hardware in either of the consoles, the Series S or X. Yeah, you get a lot of value if you subscribe to Game Pass. The thing is, it doesn't feel like you get a lot of value out of gold. And like I said, there are millions of gold subscribers out there that just pay to play online. What you can do on every other device for free, except of course PlayStation and the other and the Nintendo console. But outside of a console, you don't have to pay money to play online. So paying for gold doesn't seem like a lot of value. And PlayStation has done it very well by adding value to the service in releasing a Days Gone as in your PlayStation Plus subscription in April. There is your value right there. Yeah, you can really say you don't just pay for playing online. To be honest, I have the PS Plus subscription now just because of the games they add, because I mostly play the PlayStation exclusives on the PlayStation, and as we all know, they don't have multiplayer games. So actually, I wouldn't need online multiplayer gaming on my PlayStation, but I'm still subscribed because I think there is a lot of value in there because I'm getting a couple of good games. Microsoft isn't offering that, and it's so against what Microsoft is doing on all other fronts. Yeah, like I said, the hardware gives you value, Game Pass gives you value, but you don't get that value there. And that's why I want to pick up Pong's argument. That was the last one I heard before my computer went dark. Just remove the 4 games and just give us one good game. I think that is the way to go. I love the idea from Luke that you originally, in the very beginning of the topic, explained. But I'm right there with Gas because people probably don't see the same value in 2 or 3 good indie games than in one AAA game like a Days Gone or something like that, or Ratchet and Clank and the other games that have been in there, or Control. Yeah, there's just the perception of value isn't the same, and that's why I think they should be focused on good game rather than on 4 mediocre. Let's call them mediocre. To mediocre to bad games. Because it just doesn't make sense, in my opinion, when you consider what else Microsoft is doing on all other ends of their ecosystem.
Yeah, I listen again. It's going to be interesting to see how Microsoft responds to the controversy next month. We're all going to be waiting very patiently to see which way they decide to go. And I hopefully they listen. Again, the Microsoft does listen. We have spoken about that before. But I do want to get into the next topic. This one over here is very suggestive. This one is going to be very personal for a lot of reasons. You know, with 2021 seeing so many delays, I think besides games like Outriders and several of the big ones like Halo Infinite and the potential of a Forza, and if Sony releases Horizon, the Forbidden West, which I think is going to get delayed, we have no idea what Nintendo is doing. The indie scene, in my opinion, seems not only to be the most stable in 2021, but one that is going to have an unbelievable amount of titles. So I wanted to strike up this original conversation or topic of conversation for today, and I had asked the panel what your top 5 indie exclusives for Xbox are, and I'll give you mine real quick. Obviously, Song of Iron is at the top of the list, and it has nothing to do with Joe being a guest. That game looks dope. And again, I told them live on the air, it reminds me of Inside and, of course, Limbo. And he was blown away by that comparison. Those are indie darlings, and I believe he has something special. For me, is I cannot wait for Tunic. I'm a Zelda purist, and when I say purist, I'm talking about the old 8-bit NES, Super NES Zelda days. I cannot wait for Tunic, and not only does it play like that, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. Second Extinction, I've been chopping at the bit. I've been pushing this game. The Ascent, obviously, what could you say? It looks better every time you see it. And Stalker 2. Those are my top 5 picks. But I want to go to the panel. And I'll start with our guest. Gaz, for you, what are your top 5 picks or indie picks for 2021?
Sorry, I had myself muted. Yeah, as I was talking there. Yeah, so those are pretty solid picks. You know what? The Ascent to me looks so sick. Like that game. Look, I'm not normally into like the kind of isometric kind of thing, but I love the cyberpunk settings in games, and I really liked what I saw with the Ascent. I hope that does well. The fact that it's coming to Game Pass is just one of those games where it's like, I feel kind of guilty not paying for this. This looks so good. This is what Game Pass is really good at making you feel guilty, like you're stealing something. It's almost like, should I be enjoying this or not paying for it? Well, ultimately the developers get it, but this is what's great. But yeah, so the Ascent is really good. I really love the Ascent. I'm intrigued to see, because I'm more of a multiplayer centric guy. I would also like to see Exomecha looks really
That
cool.
looks fantastic, dude.
It does, doesn't it? It just looks like technologically, like all the chrome and just it looks like it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, it has some depth to it. That's my only concern about that. It looks good surface level. And one thing Asa mentioned, which is a really good point, was the fact that we haven't seen the mech gameplay, like of actually controlling the mechs, because they seem to take a big part of that visual real estate in the trailers, like them fighting in really specific ways. And I'm just thinking, why are you not showing that if that's the big thing that we're constantly seeing on the trailer? So I'm just a little bit mindful of that. So that's another one. Song of Iron is like the quintessential indie game that you have to get behind, because it kind of defies logic how one man can create this game. Like, if you ever wanted to feel insignificant, then just look at what the developer who you've had on your show has done and achieved on his own. It just looks so good, man. The art style, the mechanics, everything from the feel. That is the core of what an indie game is, isn't it? It's like that one man really defying the odds and just creating something that really captures the hearts of people. So that is That is a great game. So did you say 5 games?
Yeah.
There was another one. A lot of people maybe not au fait with, but I thought Loot River was so cool. Like, it's for people who haven't seen it. Loot River is like, it's like almost a cross between Tetris and like this like Hades almost. It's weird. It's, you control the platforms you're on, and it's so cool, man. It's just like, how did you come up with that? That's really cool. Narita Boy is actually out, which I haven't had a chance to play the game because, as you know, Boom, as content creators, we tend not to have as much time as you'd think because we have day jobs
Yes,
and we have
that
the
is for
content.
sure.
Crazy, isn't it? Especially you. I don't know how you do it, man, because you have so many shows. But so that's like those are mine. I won't talk about it. But ultimately, what I love indies, and I'm not just saying that because it's the nice thing to say. It's the thing, like, I think when you grow older, you tend to appreciate that as well. The kind of like the old school kind of vibes we get, but the art style, they take the risks. Indies take the risks that a lot of big devs can't maybe, not allowed to because of creative freedom or whatnot. And it's just like the art palette that's so diverse with indies. I love. So there's loads there. I don't know how many I've mentioned, but I'm sure the panel will have far more interesting thoughts on that than I will. So yeah,
Well,
but
I
it's
mean,
really nice. It's really nice.
Well, we definitely appreciate your opinions about it, and again, great picks for sure. Pong Soul, let's get your opinion on this. What are your top 5 most anticipated indies of 2021?
Well, I could go. I'll preface this by saying that obviously the ones that we all know about, The Ascent, Stalker 2, those kind of games are the ones, they're at the top of my list as well. But I tried to go I knew everybody was going to kind of list those, so I tried to find some ones that people may have heard of, but may not necessarily have it on their list. Song of Iron I will include in this just because I have been all over this game since the beginning, and Joe obviously being a part of this community and following his story. But the game itself, like you said, Boom, looks so incredible that I would be remiss not to have it on my list. Because I think there's still some people out there who aren't necessarily up to date on it or as aware of it as it should be. We were kind of talking in the back in the green room about how it hasn't got as much coverage as it probably should have from some of the big media sites. Song of Iron, for being a one-man team, Joe himself doing it all, it just looks absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. So I'll start there, and then Astria Ascending is one
that looks so good, bro.
Oh, look. Okay, again, JRPGs, old school style, turn-based, near and dear to my heart. It's what I grew up on, and so when one comes along that reminds me artistically of Dragon's Crown. If anybody remembers that from Atlas, it was a big game that a lot of people fell in love with. The artwork is everywhere if you look it up. But hand-drawn 2D style with amazing 3D backgrounds, turn-based, made by Artisan Studios. And if anybody that doesn't know who Artisan Studios is, this is a studio formed with some big heavyweight names from classic JRPGs. They've got Koshigi. I always forget to pronounce his name properly, but Koshigi Najima, who was the writer of Final Fantasy VII, including the remake, right? So you've got him. You've got music by Hitoshi Sakimoto.
He worked with Square on several of the Final Fantasy games.
Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy 12, and the Valkyria Chronicles, right?
Vagrant Story, damn.
Yes. We're talking about heavyweight veterans of JRPGs, some of the best well-known JRPGs working on this game. I absolutely cannot wait for that one. Another one, Nobody Saves the World, which is from Drinkbox.
Dope, dude. Yeah.
Oh my God. This is from Drinkbox, who did Guacamelee. The the art style in this grabbed my eye. The color palette that they're using on this just looks fantastic. And you're this guy who is basically a formless guy, but you can shapeshift in all these different characters, and looks like a great action RPG style type game. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Art of Rally. Driving game.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the
Yes,
one.
yes. Indie Gamer has done gameplay and has shown this on his channel. So shout out to the Indie Gamer. I've watched him play this game as a racing fan. That old, isometric view kind of style with simplistic graphics, but give you like this feel, right? And it's a little bit more sim, but it reminds me of RC Pro-Am back in the day, but an updated version.
Wow.
But go check it out. Any racing fans out there, it's just an attention grabber when you see it. And everybody who's played it, I think it's PC, just absolutely loves it. Game Pass day and date. I mean, again, just another great addition. I can't wait to get my hands on that one. And then for my final one, I'll go a little bit more basic again, but 12 minutes. I mean, I wanted to see more. I wanted to see something new, and I was kind of disappointed that they didn't show us something different. But
I
again,
think they're limited though, Pong. To be honest with you, because it just
of the
happens
story.
in a box.
Yep. And because of the story, they don't want to give away too much. We all hate those movie trailers that give away the entire story.
Yeah.
I think they are trying to hold back so that people don't see too much. But man, I mean, just with the actors involved.
I was just going to ask you that. How do you feel about the voice acting talent they were able to acquire for that game?
I mean, honestly, to be able to put together, and bring together people, and this is correct me if I'm wrong, Boom. Isn't this basically one guy doing this as well?
Well, yeah, it's one guy that's making this game. One person. That's correct.
Right. Exactly. So for him to go out and be able to get the people that he did,
William Dafoe, Daisy Ridley,
Yep.
Professor Xavier.
What's his name? I always forget his name too.
James McAvoy.
Yes.
James
McAvoy.
Thank you.
Yes.
To get those three actors to do this game just looks phenomenal. I mean, again, I just want to see what happens. I want to figure it out. And that's what this whole game is based upon, a 12-minute loop where you're trying to figure out and solve what's going on. And from what I know of the story, from what I've read, the synopsis of the story, it sounds like a little murder mystery, right in this one apartment that you have to, find clues and try to, figure out what exactly is happening. So that's another one. That's my fifth one that I would say that I'm looking forward to. But there's so much coming out.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? Most of the games are coming into the Game Pass.
Yep, exactly.
Which is even more insane, for sure. Let's get Boxer Bear. You're back here, brother. What are your top 5 picks?
Mine are probably a little bit more mainstream than Pong's choices, but I really love them. It's always cool if someone doesn't pick the obvious choice. So for me, it's obviously Song of Iron. I had the chance to play a very early build back in November. Before everyone else, he handed out to 3 people an early build. I was one of the lucky ones, and it is so good. It is really good. Those inside vibes, the combat, the art style, the music, it just comes together so perfectly, and I can't wait to play that. Then, of course, the Ascent. I'm a huge Diablo fan, and this looks like Cyberpunk meets Diablo, so I'm all down for that. Second Extinction, really looking forward to play that. We haven't had
and that's coming soon. That's in May.
Yeah, and we haven't had a chance to shoot dinosaurs in a long time. So
yes,
it's time, and like you said, it's almost here. Yeah, really looking forward to play that. Then Bright Memory Infinite, talking about solo developers.
Cow, dude! Yeah, another one. Yeah. That's great. Great pick.
That's gonna be awesome. We already had the Bright Memory game at launch of the Xbox Series X, which was basically the first, what do you call that, alpha build or version of that game. But now we get the game with all its levels, all the updates for next gen and everything. That's going to be awesome. And then, of course, Stalker 2. I said that 2 weeks ago. This game should be on everyone's radar. Stalker 1 was back in the days on PC. Huge. That game looked amazing. It played amazing. And it's basically the predecessor to the Metro series. Yeah. And now that this series has come full circle, we are getting a Stalker 2. I can't wait to play that. And even though they didn't show much gameplay or anything, the renders that they have shown and the technology that they are going to use looks absolutely amazing. I'm so looking forward to it, but I don't know whether that will be a 2021 title. I have to be honest, I do have the feeling that this might also get shifted or delayed to 2022.
I mean, again, you just don't know. It's slated for this year, maybe the end of the year. Definitely don't want to see a game like that get buried by the Call of Duties and the Halos and stuff.
Yeah, then it's probably better they delay it. But yeah, I'm not so sure if we will have that much or that many games this fall. To be honest, I don't think it will be the same crowded fall like every year. I've said it before. 2021 is going to be the year of the indies because we have so many delays. So already announced, and I bet that games like Far Cry 5 and games like that will also get pushed to 2022. And even though I don't think Call of Duty will get delayed, there's still a chance Battlefield won't make it, and we don't know what else really is there except for Halo. Then Halo probably won't get delayed. But you know what I mean. We don't have these like 10 big releases this fall.
Yeah, like Elden Ring, you can only imagine we're days away from announcement of delay.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Exactly, and that's what I mean. So there will be a couple or a handful of AAA releases this year, but by far not as many as we are used to, and that's why indie games are so important this year, because those games that are developed by one guy or small team, they are not as impacted as the big AAA development processes by the whole pandemic. And so I bet this year we will get a ton of great indie games, and they get actually the chance to shine because there are not so many big AAA releases.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Let's get on 3-Bit. 3-Bit, what's your... we didn't get VJ on this. I'll come back to 3-Bit in a second. VJ, for you, with the indie scene being as important to 2021 as Boxer Bear and myself believe it is going to be, what are your top 5 picks?
I didn't watch the entire show, but I know that there was about 55 odd games shown during the Idea Xbox event.
55, about 55. Yeah, 56, 55, something like that.
Of which almost half are going to be going to grace the Xbox Game Pass subscription service. So, but in no specific order. I think I was watching your show the other day, Boom, and so Stalker 2 is definitely up there. The Ascent, Backbone, and perhaps Sable and Omno. I'm unfortunate in the fact that these choice titles, I should say, are probably they are actually, I think, amongst the 22 games that are confirmed to arrive in Game Pass. So, to be honest with you, Bim, I don't really have any excuse not to dabble, amuse, or engage my imagination with the aforementioned 5 titles. Obviously, after I've engaged with Alan Wake via Game Pass, otherwise,
basically, I just want you to know that your Xbox, when you go to it, it's going to have a padlock on it, and it's only going to say only opens up after Alan Wake is beaten. That's what I'm going to say about it.
Well, I can live with that, but I'm just worried that you might rescind my invitation for this show. But
well, you definitely, your presidential royalties might have been cut a little bit. I just want you to know.
Actually, you know what? It's just come to my mind. I'm not sure how fate managed to swing it, but with Gaz present on the panel, somehow we've managed to attain an equal and proportionate American and European delegation for today's Xbox.
How do you like them apples? That is correct. That's right down the middle, 3 and 3. This is great. well represented countries, and you know what? That makes for a better podcast for sure. But you know what? A great picks, VJ. 3-bit. Let's get your opinion on this. For you, as someone that appreciates games on every size, what are your top 5 indie picks for 2021?
Well, I have to go with 12 minutes for sure. It just looks very interesting. And I love those story type telling games. I don't know if anyone has played a game called Her Story.
Oh, that's a great freaking game, dude.
That's what it reminds me of.
Fantastic.
And
yes.
If anyone has not played that game, check it out. It's very story driven. You figure out the plot along the way, and it seems like that's what 12 minutes is sort of trying to do. The Ascent, of course, it's looking to be extremely polished based on the trailers they've been releasing, and I love the gritty cyberpunk aesthetic in the game. It looks chaotic, and I love 4-player co-op games, and I'm totally down to play that with you, Pong. I know you've been praising that game for a bit, and it's looking to pretty much be like a Diablo 2077 or something. Song of Iron, that is one. Looking forward to Song of Iron. He's a great guy who's interacting with the community. The electric axe in that game looks sick, and the gameplay looks really smooth. So Stalker 2, of course, they trialed out different engines, GSC World. And Metro is a game I'm a big fan of, and they seem like they're going to have mod support on that game. At least they teased it. Which is
bananas, by the way.
Which is crazy. They had a previous engine, which was the X-Ray engine, and they said it was too outdated for what they wanted to do here, and they had a lot of bugs, which was related to their AI system in the previous game. So it looks like they just want to push this game, and I'm looking forward to that. They had the little teeth demo, which is
great. I mean, again, just think about that for a second. That's a great point, 3-bit. Yeah. They took the time to show you the teeth of NPC characters. Man, talk about detail, man.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And the last one, it's like sort of out, just a little crazy, but it's Iron Corbo or Kung Fu Janitor. If we're just talking about the indie event, that game just looked fun to play. And I do have to mention, and this is not from the showcase, but It Takes Two. I've been playing. It's an indie.
I bought it. I haven't played it yet, man. I heard it's it's another big win for Fairs and that team over there.
Yeah, if you guys have not played it, it's underneath EA's original program, which is slated for indie developers, and it is currently my game of the year. Probably until
wow. Okay, that's saying something. If you don't know who this is from Joseph Fares, and he said F the Oscars. That guy who made A Way Out is responsible for bringing this game, and it is a masterpiece. We've seen Mav and Caitlin play that, which is pretty dope. I'm going to see if I can get Mrs. Boom to play it over the weekend. She's just been so swamped at work. She comes home exhausted. But yeah, that game looks fantastic.
Yeah, looking forward to it. But yeah, great games. So yeah, that's all of them pretty much. I know there's like Second Extinction and a couple other games that I saw, like the mech game looked
Echo Mecha.
Yeah, that looks really fun to play on community game nights and stuff. But yeah, a lot of good games coming up.
Yeah, and again, a lot going into Xbox Game Pass. Listen, we do have one small topic. I'm just going to throw this out there because we just hit the 2-hour mark. I don't want to hold everybody up. This is an interesting topic. We probably could have spent an hour on this, but we have news that 343 has confirmed that dual wielding that was made popular in Halo 3 is not going to be available at launch, or may not even be available at all moving forward with Halo Infinite. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not devastated. I'm slightly bummed, sure, but when during one of their Ask 343 videos, lead sandbox designer Quinn Del Hoyo was asked whether or not they would bring back this mechanic, and he simply said, currently, that's not in the cards right now. And again, is it going to break the game for me? No. Do I like using dual machine pistols and beating down somebody? Oh, 100%. I'll throw this question out there to the chat. I'll throw this question out to the panel. Whoever wants to run crazy with it, please, by all means, do. Is this a mistake or a game breaker for you for Halo Infinite?
No, it's just stupid. Why are people worrying about this? Like,
Well, you know what? I bring this up because not because I give a shit, as it has. There were a lot of big sites running a negative. Wow! What big surprise!
You know what? Yeah, big surprise. But you know what this means to me? Like, okay, fine. Like, as a guy who owns a news aggregation platform, you don't want to shit on contributors, but it's just like, right. If you're going to make a massive mountain of this tiny little molehill, good luck for Halo standing a decent chance of reviewing well, because you're going to be sitting there crying about no one gave a shit about dual wielding, man. It wasn't even a Halo Reach. Like, no, who cares? No one cares about. And mate, is the Halo faithful? Yeah, are notorious. They'd be. You can't even there are whole segments that are against sprinting in the game. They flip tables over sprinting, which to me is so stupid. But everyone has their own opinion. Fine, but I'm just thinking like, what? Calm down. I played Halo day 0, but no dual wielding unless it's really slow. And it's been some weeks are slow news weeks, and you're reporting it. But then people are making a big deal about this stuff, like bigger than it needs to, like. No one cares. No one should care. And I actually saw on some sites, like the other contingent, like, oh, well, look at this. Your game is incomplete. They're going to maybe put it on later. No one cares. Like, really, the Halo faithful. I'm a Halo fan to the core, yeah. And I'm telling you
Give me a battle rifle and I'll take your eye out.
Yeah, stop with the nonsense. Yeah, exactly, man. Give me a battle rifle all day, any day over what? You're going to use a dual SMGs? What, dual needle?
I like that. I'm not. Please don't hate me for this, guys. But I actually liked using the dual SMGs.
No. I'm not saying the dual SMGs were like okay, it wasn't bad. Like in Halo 2, using the Magnum and the SMG was kind of nice, like a little combo. It's just, but it was not fundamental to the Halo experience. It doesn't take away from it. It's additive. If they later on add it, that's great. If they can balance that in there, but it was never like the fact that it was coming in. And I was like, okay, and then I just see people still talking about, like, what, you still talking about this? You're still talking about? Wow, you're reporting on this now, and it's just like, oh my god, if we're gonna be like this, there is no chance Halo's gonna get its fair share, because Halo is okay. It comes with the territory. The name is so powerful that it commands. It's a legendary title within. It created the Xbox. You wouldn't have the Xbox 360 if it wasn't for Halo, in my opinion.
That is correct. Yes,
it's gargantuan title. So with that comes in all this kind of, I guess, that added exposure. You come in a lot of dissension and a lot of critique, but there comes to a point where it's like, all right, you're taking the mick now. And this is from me, who's very vocal with the failings of 343 with the way they showed off Halo Infinite and compared to their demo. But the dual wielding thing, man, I swear to God, if someone cries about it, they deserve to get clapped. Sorry, that was a bit
real quick. Before someone answers the question, I just want to give you the proper reasoning for this decision at 343 Industries. Della Hoyo says this: whenever you set out to make a game the size of Halo Infinite, there's just so many things you can do. I think we have a really talented team where we can do anything, but we can't do everything. So we wanted to really focus down on the weapons, the gunplay, grenades, and melee. I don't even know how you can argue that. Anybody else want to jump in with this?
I can, if you like.
Yeah. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is coming from somebody who's not a big fan of Halo, because I just haven't been exposed to it. I know I'm probably getting demoted, but anyway.
You are losing cred by the minute.
How many demerits got on one show? How many? Are you going for a record?
I'm trying.
Folks, I think he's going to be overthrown. No more president. He's going in the dungeon. He's wearing the mask. That's it.
But, just because you've heard Gaz, right? And I just wanted to chime in, as part of the European delegation. My mind would surely evoke and throw up memories and blurry images of John Woo movies, right? When this dual wielding thing came up, such as Hardball from the 90s. But from a game perspective and a design perspective and a progressive perspective, if Halo indeed is doing away with the dual wielding, then I expect it to be a far more tactical and tense affair in terms of an FPS shooter. And we can't forget that Halo Infinite, specifically Master Chief, I believe it is now complemented, or his armor has been retrofitted with the new to Halo mechanical mechanism in the form of the grappling hook. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think that this. Sorry, Boom. And I think that this will evolve Master Chief and the overall Halo combat and traversal experience that we will end up getting to experience, hopefully, towards the end of the year. And for me, that would open up some great and perhaps some unforeseen and exceptional gameplay encounters and opportunities. So whether it's Halo Infinite or a different game, it's something entirely different that we could potentially be discussing. We probably will in the future. It's important to note that it's sometimes about taking something away and replacing it with something new to provide a better or different experience, as long as it's fun and engages you as a player and hence captures your imagination. I think for more ardent fans, you would want the franchise to grow and develop, while all the time being and retaining the essence of what makes Halo energetic and enduring. Because that's the vibe that I get when I listen to people that play Halo or talk about Halo, the energy and the enduring nature of the franchise never since, I think, as Gaz mentioned, since its inception, and he specifically mentioned the Xbox 360 and the various sequels that surround it to date. It perhaps in this instance at least, it's all about being open-minded and trusting the team and the leadership, which we've done openly on this show for numerous weeks, if not months, to pull off whatever they are aiming for to as much universal praise as possible. And definitely from what I've been seeing, I am really sort of keeping my eye on the new Halo Infinite. I think it could be something really, really great. And and I think that's my point, actually.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Well, you know what, folks? Listen, I don't want to hold anyone else here. I know people got things to do. This has been a great show, and we were able to get to 5 topics. Everyone just completely knocked it out of the park. Let me just catch up on 4 super chats that popped in, and we'll do the outros. Infinite AA drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "I think online play has to be free with the way the ecosystem has been going. Why can't I play on PC or xCloud without Xbox Live Gold?" Again, it's a fantastic point. I think Microsoft is going to have to be answering these questions. I think right now we're going to just get what we got. The Arnie F drops a very generous $2 super chat and says they can replace it with one big game with all DLC. I mean, that's also a thought for the games with gold shenanigans. Y9 Power, generous friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says we need bigger portable hard drives. As convenient as transferring files is, it's still an extra step rather not to do. I hope that they there's an 8 terabit. Yeah, I agree. I definitely need I don't know how much it's going to cost, but gee whiz, it's going to be expensive. CY Studios drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, games on daily in the house, enjoying Outriders. Indeed. But you know what? Let's do the outros, and we'll start with Gaz. Gaz, you got a good show coming up this week. Your 2 announced guests are some people that I not only respect, but can't wait to hear. Tell everyone about Game On Daily, and where can people reach out to you and get sauced?
Oh, shit. So the source is on GameOnDaily.com, which is a news aggregation site. All your news goes there. You can submit. So that's to keep up to date with the gaming source. That's where you go. We're doing a lot of content. I've got 3 videos in the works right now on Game On Daily, one word. We've got a great show. Thank you again, Boom, for inviting me. And I'm sorry, I was trying to appear on camera, but work is bank holiday, Easter weekend, so I just couldn't get out. But I wanted to try and get on camera. It wasn't working. But this Saturday we have 2 sick guests. We've got Solid Rev, man. If you know who Solid Rev is.
That guy is good. Hey, that guy is legit, bro.
Oh man, I love that guy. I've been watching his stuff for over 10 years. So for me to host a show where he's coming on, I love his takes. If you actually check his URL on his YouTube page, it's called something / something like beating lames or like Just like, I don't know what it is. It's something hilarious. That guy is brilliant. Last time he tried to come on, his internet failed. So I'm praying he's still having issues. So I hope he sorts that out. The other guest is Fonzarelli, man. He's a good friend of mine. We talk on a daily basis.
Jay Fonz, good dude.
Jay Fonz is such a G, man. He's such a genuinely nice, genuinely nice people. And he's doing his camera debut, live debut.
Dude, nice.
Yeah. I broke him down. It was just like you're gonna do it. 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 He's like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So he's now he's really excited to come on. So it's really great. So we've got these great guests on Saturday, 8 p.m. British summertime. So yeah, just come join. We're growing. We've got a lot of videos. I made a video on the Source where I called out the PlayStation and Nintendo, saying Xbox is the most pro-consumer console.
That was a great video, dude. Great. Monday you dropped that, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I did, and I just, the stupid forever physical nonsense. Oh my god! When I said that they were a rabid fan base, you have no idea how many people I've blocked and muted since then. They are, and it's sounds like they're just duplicate accounts, but they're such a rabid, toxic fan base that have nothing better to do. They're constantly messaging me. Me and my mates are just laughing at their messages. It's really funny. But sorry, I'm going a very long outro. Really conscious of the time, but I just want to say Game On Daily is delivering the Source. We have so much we don't sleep, and it's not an exaggeration. I've got 3 videos in the works right now. We love the community. Your community is dank. A lot of our communities cross over as well.
Yes.
And I can't wait to have you, Boom, onto the show as well, very soon. So just holler at your boy. Game On Daily is the place where all the Source is created. Thank you so much. Lovely panel. I love everyone's takes were great, especially you, VJ, but that's not biased because you come from the same country. And live chat. I was reading all your chats, you guys. Chat.
Yeah, the chat here is probably the best in the business. They really come out, and they're really educated, and they're smart. And I mean, there's some shenanigans every now and again, but for the most part, Lethal Papa, who does the work of the Lord. There's no doubt about it. He's out there carrying a very big band stick and walking silently. And when you get out of line, he doesn't whack the hands. He just takes off the head. So, of course, thank you, Lethal Papa, for being here. And, of course, guys, thanks so much for being here, brother. Definitely appreciate it. It was great to have you. Pong Soul. I think this is someone you may want to keep your eye on. He's never been on this show before, and he doesn't know anything about Xbox. Pong, what's going on, brother? Tell everyone about where they can reach out to you, and more importantly, what other shows you're on.
Absolutely, Boom. Well, I'm going to try to keep mine under Gaz's time limit here, so we're going to try. Pong Soul everywhere, Xbox and Twitter. Obviously, you can find me there. Follow me. I'll follow you back. Love seeing new people and interacting with all the great community that's out there. Obviously, Friday, tomorrow night, Xbox Ultimate with Fun Speculation, a.k.a. Mav, his wife, Caitlin. Of course, my brother 3-Bit, who is here today, and we got Psychonauts 8, and Assassin Lupa is back. Her first show back was last week, and then we also added Lady AF. So we got a huge panel.
That's like the Justice League, bro.
Right,
come on.
Right, exactly. We've got all the superheroes, and this week, Boom, as you know, we are bringing in 2 huge names in the industry, one of them being yourself.
That is correct, sir. That's right.
Oh, man. And not only you, but we are also having Noof Nukem. Are you kidding me? This show is going to be crazy tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Be there. We want to see everybody in chat. It's going to be a huge show. We always have a good time. And then we have community game night afterwards. We usually play Halo, Master Chief Collection. Everybody is welcome. Great time. So that's Friday night. Tomorrow, Saturday morning, myself and Steel Rain, my brother from another, we started our own show. Saturday mornings, we're going to wake you up, called Living Split Screen. It's Living Split Screen, all one word, capital S's. Our first episode was last week. We had an awesome turnout. We're hoping for another great turnout this week. We love getting everybody energized in the morning. So grab your coffee, grab your pre-workout, grab a beer for you guys in the UK. I don't care. Just come out and see us. We have a great time. It's really organic. We don't have, necessarily a set set amount of topics that we want to get through. We're just going to talk, and it's him and I, and we're going to talk with the chat and get you guys involved. That starts at 10 o'clock Eastern time, 9 a.m. Central time. It is now 3 p.m. UK time for all of our European friends out there. Again, Living Split Screen. You can follow us at LVNG. At LVNG Split Screen. Again, Split Screen being all one word. And find us on YouTube, Living Split Screen. And then Saturday night, I'm on the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam, Centurion, Fuzzy Belvedere, and Stagorilla. And that is now at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 8 Central Time. So come see us. Short show, usually just a little bit over an hour. And this week we've got the Wandering Dutch on. That's right. The Viking is invading the Shop Podcast. Going to be a great time. And then, of course, Tuesdays with Boom and Zemi on the Xbox Factor Podcast, the extension. Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time. You can find us right here on Double Barrel Gaming. So busy man, loving it. Love you all. Chat, you guys were awesome. Panel, of course, man. I can't, you guys are just great, and I love coming on here with all of you. So appreciate it, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Well, thanks so much, and I thought I was busy. Holy shit, man! That's a schedule there, Pong. Let's go next to you know him now, thanks to me, as Boxer Bear. His name is Archimedes, and he's also playing Outriders. Hopefully, you're going to get a chance to really sink some time into that. You got to tell people about your amazing channel. You're doing great work there. The subs are coming in by the boatload, and well deserved. And also, more importantly, tell everyone about where they can reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media.
Yeah, first of all, thanks again for having me. It's always a blast here on the Xbox Factor podcast. It's been especially great to be on a show with guests. I think it's the first time I've been on a podcast with you, so it's been my pleasure. But not to take away, of course, from the rest of the awesome panel. That's always a blast. So yeah, thanks again for having me. And yeah, people can find me basically everywhere at Boxenberger. Of course, PlayStation here on Xbox and on YouTube and on Twitter. And yeah, like you said, my channel is growing, slowly growing. I'm having a lot of fun doing all those videos. It's been such a great ride over the last year, seeing that channel grow and gaining a couple of subs and a lot of great conversations with the community. It's such a blast. So I'm really grateful for all the support there. And yeah, I can't wait to be on your show next week again. In case you want to see me on another show on Saturday evening, German time. What is that in Eastern? That is 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll be on the Indie Gamer show.
Nice.
The Indie Gamer is doing a great review show of the Xbox showcase and the indie titles for the Xbox in this year. I can't wait to be a part of this one. And yeah, I see you guys next week here.
Thanks so much for being here, brother, as always. VJ, why don't you tell everyone about what else you got going on? But more importantly, if somebody wants to reach out to you, potentially boo you for not carefully playing Halo, for not playing Alan Wake, and wants to offer up a conversation, where could they reach out to you on social media?
Oh dear. I see that there's a 3-strike rule here in America, so I'm safe, right? And I can leave the show.
You may want to hold off divulging any more information until these 2 strikes are off your record.
Yeah, but I just want to say thanks to the. I don't get to hear as much of Pong Sol as I'd like to, but I think he's extremely cultivated, stylish, and polished. And thanks for joining us today. Sorry for interrupting you earlier, Gaz, and thank you so much for coming on today. And adding the sauce, I think, as everybody's referring to.
Yes, he is the sauce, the man that makes the sauce.
So I know I spoke extensively in relation to the blooper topic, but for me, Boom, it was a really important and fantastic topic, since evoked memories of my time in Warsaw, coupled with a studio or any studio, right, in their position, trying to succeed, grow, and all the while at the same time trying to create. And that's why I think it was a fantastic an opportunity to talk about and widen the horizons in terms of what their trajectory may be, right? And I'm sure we'll revisit that topic sometime in the future. And I just want to say thanks to the panel and the community in the live chat, and thank you, Boom, for inviting me onto your amazing shows. It really does allow, for me personally, a great mental freedom and outlet. And I just want to say, I hope everyone has a great weekend.
No, well, thanks for being here as always, dude. We love having you a part of the show. It would not be the same without you. And of course, last and no way least, 3-Bit, why don't you tell us what you got going on? Tell everyone about your incredible YouTube channel. And more importantly, where could people reach out to you and potentially have their heart broken that you're leaving the industry and follow you on social media?
Yeah, I know I'm going to be in the dungeon alongside BJ for my April Fool's prank on Twitter. But while I'm locked away, and I should have some cell service, you guys can follow me on Twitter. It's the VGHD. My YouTube channel is the Video Games HD. I've been playing It Takes Two with the wonderful Lady AF, and again, it feels like a AAA game. Loving it. I'm here every Thursday with a great panel, and later tonight is Fun Pop, the comic book podcast. So you guys can drop on over. I'm over at Xbox Ultimate every Friday, and we got Boomstick and Noof tomorrow, so be sure to drop by for that amazing show. And I'm trying to get my gaming in this week because I don't know if I'll be able to do any podcasting next week because of some design work for a certain studio, but I should be posting some animation work over the week to keep you guys in the loop. So love you all. Thanks so much, Boom, for having me on the show, and I'll be seeing you guys later. Love the panel. You guys are awesome.
Well, thanks for being here, brother, and I can't wait to see what you got working on. Big thanks to the near 400 people here. Of course, I want to thank the incredible generosity that continues to come in, folks. Rest assured that it's being invested back into you, making sure that I have the computers and necessary to run this show proper. I do have some design work that's being currently done by Dinero, the very talented Dinero Pinero. I know him as Diego. We're going to be making some big announcements very soon on the work that he is currently doing. And of course, thank you so much for supporting Double Barrel Gaming. This is a dream that I never thought could come to fruition. And here we are, nearly 10,000 subs later. I mean, we're not even at 8,000, but we're marching to 10. And hopefully by E3 2021, we will surpass that. And obviously, that's thanks to you. So, of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my father taught us when we were kids. And he used to say this: son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.